Good evening and welcome. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and I'm pleased to have you with us for our January 27, 2021 meeting of the Brighton Town Board. As we've been doing throughout the pandemic, this meeting is being conducted remotely on Zoom, and it's broadcast in Brighton on our community cable access channel 1303. But it's also live streamed on our YouTube channel, so you can watch us anywhere. On the town's webpage, www.townofbrighton.org, is a link to that YouTube live stream, and we're happy to have all of you with us. All of that is in compliance with Governor Cuomo's executive order that modified the terms of the open meetings law to allow local government bodies to continue to meet during the pandemic in a remote way. We continue to do so in as open and accessible way as we can. We're pleased to have our ASL sign language interpreters, Heather Barzinski and Ali Foey. You've watched us before. You've seen Heather and Ali in action. Thank you both. And we also continue our open forums, and we will be going into the open forum in just a couple of minutes. I would, however, like to start with a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let me first give a brief update on COVID. As you probably have already heard, but in case you have not, today Governor Cuomo released all of Monroe County from both the yellow and orange zones. Much of Brighton was in the so-called orange zone. Some of it was in the yellow zone. That reflects the significant improvement in data points over the past several weeks since the holiday season ended. But I can't stress enough, I know Dr. Mendoza can't stress enough, that does not mean that the COVID emergency is over. We are still seeing on a 7-day average basis over 300 new cases each day in Monroe County. That's a significant number. So we can't let our guard down, or as Governor Cuomo said, we can't get cocky about COVID. Now, we are continuing rapid COVID testing at Temple-Brith Kodesh, right here on Elmwood Avenue from 2 to 4 Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I want to again thank the leadership at Temple-Brith Kodesh, Rabbi Peter Stein, Mike Udelson, who is the executive director, for making this site available to the community. We are grateful for that. I also want to give a shout out to Mike Guyon, who has been in charge of that site, although I know Chad has stepped up in the last couple days and has been manning the lead on that each setting. But each Friday afternoon, the sign up opens up for that site and for all of the testing sites in Monroe County. I do want to stress that at this site, at the Brighton site, pre-registration is mandatory. So if you're interested in getting one of those rapid tests here, please do sign up. Your best bet is to sign up on Friday as close to noon as possible. On the Monroe County webpage, go to www.monroecounty.gov. Now, with respect to vaccinations, again, as you have no doubt been following, Vaccinations for people in groups 1A and group 1B are ongoing, but supply issues, serious supply issues, continue to make this a slow and really frustrating process. There are a couple of different tracks going on, both UR Med and Rochester Regional Health are randomly notifying people in category B, primarily people over the age of 65, actually 65 and over, let me be clear about that, that are patients of physicians that are affiliated with those two hospital groups, randomly advising them that they can make an appointment. They are asking people not to call their own physicians, that if they're selected, they will be notified. The Dome Arena is also operating as a vaccine site, again, for people in Group 1B. People in Group 1A, teachers, law enforcement, and some of the others have been getting vaccinated through separate locations. Yesterday, we saw for the first time a great pop-up site at Mount Olivet Baptist Church in the city of Rochester. I understand that went very, very well. And they are looking to identify more pop-up sites in the city to make sure that underserved communities also get a good shot, if you will, no pun intended, at getting that shot. So as I said last time, I very, very strongly encourage everyone, when the vaccine becomes available to you, please get it. The Pfizer and Moderna vaccines that are now available have been thoroughly tested. Vaccines are the way to control and hopefully eliminate viral diseases. We've seen it with smallpox. We've seen it with polio, which is nearly eradicated from the world. So again, I really want to encourage people, when they have the opportunity to take the shot, please get it. Also, with respect to the governor's declaration today about the orange and yellow zone, I want to remind everybody that the existing statewide rules still do apply. This is not, as I said before, this is not open season. Restaurant capacity is limited to 50%, and their hours for service have been curtailed. Social gatherings, both in and out of the home, continue to be limited capacity in places of worship. And for more information on all of those ongoing restrictions, I would encourage you to go to the state's website at forward.ny.gov. Today is International Holocaust Day of Remembrance. And I have a proclamation tonight marking that date. Whereas International Holocaust Remembrance Day marks the anniversary of the liberation of the Nazi concentration and extermination camp at Auschwitz and Birkenau on this day, January 27, 1945. And whereas the Holocaust was the state-sponsored, systematic persecution and annihilation of 6 million European Jews by Nazi Germany and its collaborators between 1933 and 1945, non-Jews such as Roma, people with disabilities, Poles, and many others were also targeted for destruction for racial, ethnic, or other reasons, and millions more. homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses, political dissidents, if they were not exterminated, also suffered grievous oppression and death under Nazi tyranny. Whereas Holocaust denial and distortion attempts to delegitimize the history of the Holocaust by twisting established facts about the size and causes of the Nazi genocide must be called out, because if left unchecked, they threaten our shared human rights values and risk the continued promotion of conspiratorial thinking and violent extremism. Whereas together, we must bear responsibility of remembering the Holocaust and educating others about the causes, consequences, and dynamics of such heinous crimes, so as to strengthen the resilience of young people, particularly against ideologies of hatred, especially as we're witnessing a rise of anti-Semitism and hateful discourse in the United States and in countries around the globe. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, on behalf of the entire Brighton Town Board, do hereby recognize today, January 27, 2021, as International Holocaust Day of Remembrance in the town of Brighton, and ask that the people of Brighton always remember the terrible events of the Holocaust and remain vigilant against hatred, persecution, and tyranny. This proclamation is signed this 27th day of January, 2021. We will also recognize Yom HaShoah later in this year, as we do each year. Next, I want to go to the open forum. As always, the open forum is an opportunity for people to call in with their comments or questions. It can be about something that's on our agenda tonight. It can be about town-related matters that aren't on our agenda tonight. I do want to advise everybody, and we'll start with this, that I did receive an item of electronic communication this afternoon, and I want to read that into the record along with some other attached materials, and then we'll have an opportunity to discuss it a little bit more. Dear Supervisor Maley and Town Board members, we are asking for your support to complete the sidewalk on East Avenue between Knollwood and the Pittsford town border. This section of sidewalk provides an important connection for parents and students at Allen Creek Elementary School, as well as residents and staff of the Friendly Home. Right now, the lack of the sidewalk forces pedestrians, including students, to walk in the shoulder of East Avenue, where the speed limit is 40 miles an hour. This is a public safety hazard, particularly in the fall and winter months, when the shoulder is often obstructed with snow and debris. Here are some highlights of the project proposed and its impact. About 400 students attend Allen Creek Elementary. This includes students from both Brighton and Pittsford. Right now, children and parents must walk shoulder to shoulder with traffic on a busy road. The risk of serious injury or worse is too great for this not to be addressed as soon as possible. The completion of the 750-foot sidewalk gap would allow Brighton residents to access the 11,000 feet of sidewalk that Pittsford installed over the past 2 years and provide a connection to both the village of Pittsford and Sutherland High School. We have attached the following documents: a letter of support from Pittsford School Superintendent Dr. Michael Pirro, which I'll read in a moment, and a change.org petition with 800 signatures and comments. We have also been working with State Senator Jeremy Cooney who would like to help secure funding for this project. Thank you for your consideration, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. And it's signed by Jim Hondorf, 319 Landing Road South, and Aaron Schaefer, 3250 East Avenue. Let me also read Dr. Piro's letter. It's dated December 7th, 2020. The intent of this memo is to share my sidewalk pathway safety concerns at the Allen Creek School. Allen Creek School is located at 3188 East Avenue. We serve families that live in the 14534 and 14618 zip code. Currently, there is an unsafe pathway for children to walk or bike to school. The Pittsford Sidewalk project completed construction to the end of our town line, leaving a half-block strip with no sidewalk before the existing Brighton sidewalk begins. As a result, Allen Creek School students walking or biking to school need to walk in the road from Creekside Lane to Knollwood Drive. This is a very unsafe condition for students and residents who choose to walk or bike this neighborhood. It is especially dangerous during school arrival and dismissal as school buses arrive and exit onto East Avenue. There is significant traffic congestion on East Avenue throughout the day as it leads to the 490 Expressway, entrance to Friendly Home, and the Brighton Fire Department, causing unsafe traffic and pedestrian conditions. In an effort to partially address the overall safety concern in this area, we have budgeted for and reinstated a crossing guard. The Pittsford School District would be happy in any way to partner with you to extend the sidewalk for the safety of our students. I would also encourage you to see firsthand the congestion and volume of traffic in this area during dismissal time. Thank you for your consideration. Signed, Michael Piro. In a moment, I'll ask that these be received and filed. But again, I also want to note that when we do that, we will also receive and file a change.org petition. I didn't count, but I will take Mr. Hondorf's word that there are 800 signatures on that petition. I want to thank them both for submitting that. I suspect they are both viewing this meeting now. I also believe that Senator Jeremy Cooney was going to be trying to join watching the meeting as well. I spoke with Senator Cooney this afternoon about this project. Just a couple thoughts first, and then I'm going to ask Mike to add some input. You'll recall that during the design and review process that the New York State Department of Transportation engaged in the repaving and reconfiguration of East Avenue, the town advocated for design changes to permit the construction of a sidewalk at grade. And I think we all would have loved to have seen that sort of a solution to this problem. Unfortunately, I think both a question of funding that was available for the project, but also safety concerns related to a bump out or some other improvement that would have been required in order to permit the installation of a sidewalk at that location. The state made the decision, despite our advocacy, not to proceed, not to include a sidewalk at grade in that project. We have done at least some concept review of the potential for installing a sidewalk at the location, cognizant of some very real challenges of that stretch of East Avenue. And I'd like our Commissioner of Public Works and Highway Superintendent Mike Guyon to talk a little bit about the work that you did as it would relate to the concept of installing a sidewalk there and the challenges that would face.
Sure thing, Supervisor. We've been working with Mr. Hondorf for quite a while. We actually did as you mentioned, a concept layout back in 2018. And looking at that site, there is just no easy way to construct a sidewalk through there. We looked at basically constructing an at-grade sidewalk, a sidewalk that kind of winds onto the adjacent property. And no matter how you slice it, there's going to be a lot of work to be done there. And there are some really, truly difficult obstacles. The first obstacle is a grade and that existing stone wall. That would all have to be relocated at a great cost. Also, once you start moving the wall, you're going to impact all those trees on the hillside. There are some, I would call them specimen oak trees, beautiful, beautiful oak trees that would more than likely have to come down. I don't know how you could save them. So we had planned on having to take those down. And we'd also have to impact that private property. I believe we would have to, we didn't estimate how much of an easement we would need on the private property, but it looked like we might even be getting into the driveway, the existing driveway, to make the grades work there. Even moving the wall, if you do move a wall, you have to excavate behind the wall to tie it back in to make sure it's stable. So there's just a lot of construction. There's no easy way to do it. Love to build it, but there's just no easy way to do it. We put together a real preliminary cost estimate, like the supervisor said, based on a very conceptual drawing. We came up with about $330,000 to construct that sidewalk. That's 750 feet. That's not a very long length of sidewalk for $300,000 plus. Again, there's just an awful lot of obstacles there, and it being along a state road makes it that much more difficult too from controlling traffic.
Mike, you talk about grade. If you could just comment briefly on the impact of grade as it relates to the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Sure. So we would have to maintain, you try to maintain less than 5%, and that would be acceptable. But in this case, we would certainly have to exceed the 5% grade to make that work if we did not excavate that hillside. At that point, you have to have a 5% grade for a certain length of time than a 20-foot flat space. And then, so what it does is it creates a lot more disturbance you have to do basically to build the sidewalk. If we excavated the hill, we could certainly make it compliant with ADA requirements. But again, that wall would have to be moved and it would be constructed at grade. So in other words, to make it work for the ADA and not move the wall, we would have to sort of serpentine it back and forth to make the grades work to meet the ADA compliance.
Or, I mean, is there any way of doing it less serpentine, as you said? But would that require then encroaching on other neighbors' properties? Or, I mean, I don't know what the alternatives are.
Yeah, Bill, whatever we build there, we're going to have to get into that private property because we're going to have to excavate. We're going to have to excavate. If we remove the hillside or push the hillside back with a wall, we're going to have to take down the existing wall, put up a new wall, and excavate behind that wall to tie it in. That will put us into that private property. If we go the route of creating sort of that serpentine, and that's the only way I can see that we make the grade, we're going to have to, basically, we're going to be building a sidewalk within a moat kind of, because you're going to have walls on either side of it. But with those walls, you're still going to have to, the earth disturbance is still going to push onto that private property. It's easier to show you on the drawings. I just don't have them here.
Sure. you know, we've talked about this, and you know, I appreciate the strong show of support, and I certainly think that warrants us looking at what the options are. Even, you know, I recognize that what you have done was internal, very concept, and wouldn't be the kind of due diligence that you would use if, for example, you were using it to support a grant, a state grant. I mean, obviously the state advised us they did not have money in the original project to do it. It would have been a nice time to be able to do it. But we're going to have to, for this project to move forward, realistically, you know, I appreciate Dr. Piro's offer to partner with us from the school district. I don't know whether the school district, whether he's talking about providing funding or supporting funding, I don't know. But we would have to put together a much more detailed application to get grant funding, and presumably that would include much more detailed plans to go forward, which have their own expense. Okay. Well, again, I appreciate the fact that there's continued interest in this. Obviously, we've been working very hard to link as many sidewalks as we can. Mike talked about the cost. If you go back and look at what our sidewalk annual repair costs are, this project, again, if those very much conceptual numbers are reasonably accurate for the project, would cost about 10 times the cost per linear foot of our normal, you know, 5-foot sidewalk reconstruction work. Is that about the right ballpark, Mike?
Yeah, that is about the right ballpark, Bill.
So that's, you know, that's not to say that it's impossible that it can't be done, but it is indicative of the magnitude of the project. You've already talked about the impact of the project beyond costs on those trees and the property, which could involve the need to use eminent domain if the property owner was not amenable to the price. There's an awful lot of unknowns. Mm-hmm. But given the level of interest, I mean, I think we need to look at what, again, because I want to stress this. This is not something new. This is something that was addressed. It's unfortunate, frankly, that it couldn't have been addressed with the reconstruction project. It's unfortunate that we weren't aware. I mean, Pittsford did their work with a state grant. Had we been aware that they were moving forward with that grant, perhaps we could have gone in jointly and asked for money, and then the increment on what was a very large sidewalk project in Pittsford would not have been, you know, as significant as it is here. But that's woulda, shoulda, coulda. Those are in the past. So let's look and see what can be done, recognizing though that this is a major project. I do want to know too that later tonight we will be approving an intermunicipal agreement with Pittsford to provide for those crossing guards at the corner of Allens Creek and East Avenue to help the students that are crossing East Avenue at that point do so safely. So we'll be getting to that later. I know we haven't gotten any other calls. But I don't know if any of the other board members would like to comment on that. Christine?
Yeah, I would. I am grateful to Jim Hondorf and Aaron Schaefer and their neighbors and the others who signed on to the petition for bringing this back to the attention of the town and the town board. And I'm grateful to Mike for his very patient explanations about the engineering impact on that location. And I know Mike hates to be a negative Nancy in any way, and that is not what he's presenting to us. He's presenting them the realities and the complexities of it. I am overjoyed that we have attention from Senator Cooney on this, and I thank Jim Hondorf and Aaron Schaefer for initiating that. Having that kind of fresh eyes on the situation from Albany gives me hope that we will be able to come up with a creative new solution, whether it's creative funding, whether it's creative engineering, because we know that more and more children are walking to school because of the decisions not to overpack school buses during the pandemic. We know that that bus line serves the friendly home and the school with folks who are not being dropped straight at the door. The crossing guards are there for the students during the day, but not for shift changes at other points in the day. So it's people of all ages, all abilities, who are in need of using that stretch of roadway, and they're not always encased in their own personal vehicles. So I'm really glad that this has come back to our attention. It's not an easy answer. We'll figure it out. We're smart people. We're a committed community. I'm hopeful that before I'm too much older, we'll get this one figured out.
And Mike, is there a sidewalk on the other side of the street there, on the other side of East Avenue, opposite this high bank, which we would have to excavate?
Chris, there's not. There is not.
Is
So
there,
there is grade change problems on that other side also, but not there's no wall. It's not as severe.
And the children would have to cross East Avenue in any event. If a crosswalk were put in at, say, Creekside, which is approximately where the Pittsford Sidewalk ends, is that correct?
That is correct.
The children would have to cross in any event. If they were crossed at Creekside, what's the potential? I think it's less of an engineering challenge to put a sidewalk on that opposite side, which they'd have to access in any event.
There's still some challenges, but it's not, you don't have the trees. You don't think you'd have acquisition. You might though, but there's some banks to deal with, but you're right, Chris. It's nothing like I guess it would be the south side of the roadway there that we're talking about.
Right.
But you'd have to cross, if you would come, you would probably cross it at Knollwood and then cross back over at Creekside.
So, no,
Yeah, there's the existing traffic signal at
Knollwood.
Knollwood,
Yeah.
But not at Creekside.
but not at Creekside. And I would be very surprised, given the short distance. We know that the state, their warrant in terms of traffic signals, one of the things that they look at is proximity of signals, as well as, and I realize this sort of skews their analysis, but vehicular traffic at the cross street. So I wouldn't want to speculate as to whether an additional traffic signal would be able to be installed. But I believe, Mike, we would have the same issue that we've seen elsewhere. In order to install a crosswalk, there needs to be a destination on both sides. In other words, a trail or a sidewalk on both sides. And I don't know whether, that in and of itself would become. But, you know, I don't think we need to speculate at what might be the challenges that are faced. We know there are significant challenges. If we're in a position, and I appreciate Senator Cooney's attention, and if we're in a position to get funding to conduct that kind of a study, we'll be able to look at alternatives and how we might best address them.
And has the safety, have the safety concerns been addressed? I believe, Chief, you had some impact over there with the traffic at the pickup and drop off times that was being generated.
And I mean, no doubt it's a congested area. We did a count for the number, did a couple things, did a count for the number of school children crossing back when that crossing guard was eliminated at East Avenue and Allen's Creek in 2019, if I recall correctly. There was 1 or 2 students crossing, and this year I think it is slightly more. It's maybe 3 or 4 students that are crossing. We did a 5-year review of the traffic crash data, and there's not a lot of traffic accidents in that area. I had spoke with Mike Guy just last week, and we put our traffic box up there to get some more accurate and up-to-date traffic data, and I hope to have that for them relatively soon.
Chief, you're also providing some assistance, are you not, or at least you have, with respect to a drop-off and the end of the day?
We did earlier in the school year. We went up and worked with staff at the school to make some suggestions for improvement and better traffic flow within the parking lot. And it's a concern, you know, any place around schools are concerns because everybody's getting there at one time wanting to drop children off. And this year has just created even more unusual circumstances because of COVID. Some of the traffic patterns aren't the same as they have been in the past. More people are driving students to school. There are more walkers. So this is a really unusual year when it comes to traffic patterns and children walking to school. We've seen it at all of our traffic crossing guard posts as well.
Thank you. All right, well, I think that gives us at least the sense of the concern, the sense that there are people out there, as all of us are, that are concerned with the situation. And we'll work, I will continue to work with Senator Cooney and look to address next steps.
And Bill, we've looked at this several times at the Public Works Committee.
Yes,
and that's when Mike gave us the rough estimate on potential cost of excavating that high bank and taking down those huge trees, and what kind of construction might be involved, and that's independent of the easement. And at that time, it was just considered insurmountable, given the cost of it. We're always be thrilled to be able to find some other solution there, but this is, you know, a very difficult you know, geologic situation that we have there, and we'll, by all means, let's look at it again, and Senator Cooney's in a position to help with that cost. By all means, I'm pleased that they brought it back up for consideration and are enlisting the senator's help. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. We have not received, by the way, can I have a motion to receive and file the communication from Mr. Hondorf and Mr. Schaefer, along with the communication from Dr. Michael Pirro and the change.org petition that accompanied the email. Can I have that motion, please?
So moved.
Christine, second. Jason, thank you.
Yep.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye.
And Bill, with the belief that that concludes the open forum, I move to approve the agenda.
Can I have a second?
Second, Robin.
Any discussion? Yeah, any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Tonight, we do have one public hearing. It is a public hearing for the proposed establishment of Extension 108 to the Brighton Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District. Dan, has the necessary legal notice been given in this matter?
Yes, Supervisor, notice was published in the January 14th edition of the Post.
Thank you. I'll turn to Mike again for some background on this sewer district extension.
Thank you, Supervisor. The folks at 49 Collingsworth are the residents who are looking to extend the sanitary sewer district. They have had their septic system fail. And in that area, it's steep slopes. The soils are very sandy, but it's steep slopes. They just don't have room to expand or modify their existing septic system. So they're looking to connect to the public sewers. If you remember back in, I think it's 2011, the town of Penfield extended public sewers to their residents along Collingsworth. That required that they installed a pump station at the north end of Collingsworth. And then from that pump station is a force main, which is a section of sewer that's under pressure that carries the sewage from the pump station back up into our existing sewer in Lafayette. The town of Penfield, we've talked with them. They're okay with our residents tying into that force main, provided we have an out-of-district agreement in place. The board did amend the out-of-district agreement for this district formation back in August of this year. There's no capital costs associated with this district formation. The folks that are going to join from 49 Collingsworth are going to be required to pay operation and maintenance for the Brighton Consolidated Sewer District and also Monroe County Pure Waters. There's also a small capital charge in both of those districts. So there's a small capital charge in Pure Waters District and also a small capital charge in our Consolidated Sewer District.
And that will be paid by the property owner as well.
That will all be paid by the property owner along with the O&M charges, Bill. That's pretty much a quick summary of where we're at with this project. We've been working with the folks there at 49 Collingsworth for quite a while, trying to make this happen. They have been, I would say at the very least, inconvenienced by the failure of their septic system.
That's a big inconvenience.
Yeah, yes it is.
I'm not sure if I called the public hearing I did, good, okay. Is there any, I thought I did, but I wanted to make sure. Is there anyone who would like to address the board on the subject matter of this public hearing? Any other comments? And obviously you'll have a chance to when you vote. Any other comments from the board? Hearing none, I declare this public hearing to be closed. I would also note Bridget did not receive any phone calls. Can I have then a motion to approve this extension? Why don't I have Chris do that?
So moved.
Second, Jason.
Any further discussion?
And that motion is to adopt the resolution that is before you, Mr. Werner?
Correct.
I move that we approve the extension of the sewer district in accordance with the resolution before us. Thank you.
There's just a few other things in that resolution.
Yeah. And Jason, you second.
Including a secret determination of a negative declaration.
Thank you. Ken.
Right. If there is no further discussion, then I will ask Dan to please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Keep scrolling here past all of these documents. Next, we have our committee reports. And again, as we have been saying for far too long, our committees are not meeting due to COVID, but that doesn't mean that our committee chairs aren't working to advance the business that would otherwise be coming before their committees. So we'll ask our chairs to each report, starting with our Community Services Committee Chair, Robin.
Thanks so much, Bill. As you mentioned, the Community Services Committee did not meet in person as it was scheduled to on January 20th due to the pandemic, but I do have some updates from our department heads. From our Recreation Department, our Winter Spring 2021 Recreation Programs registration is currently ongoing. New programs are being added frequently, so do check the website, your email, and the Recreation Department Facebook page to stay up to date with all of our latest happenings. We'd love to have you join our online community. And we also want to mention that February break will soon be here. It will be here before you know it. So check out our great program offerings following strict health and safety guidelines. We will offer small group sizes and activities to keep your kiddos happy over the February break. In addition, we want to announce our Take and Make Cutout Cookie programs. We're thrilled to announce that our Cutout Cookie Take and Make packs put together by the Genesee Bakery and Deli are going to be distributed. We have themed Take and Make cookie kits that come with everything you need to decorate 12 cookies. And so you can support a small business and break with the winter blues with cookies. What could be better?
Yes.
So, full details on themes and dates are on the Recreation website. And honestly, what could be sweeter? Our spring events, please stay tuned for announcements regarding upcoming St. Patrick's Day and Spring Bunny events. Details are being finalized and we are hopping with excitement. Sorry for all those puns. So
Every bunny loves a bunny.
Right. Our Monarch County Grab and Go Senior Meal Program is continuing this year. The Brighton Seniors continues to provide grab and go style meals each week as part of the Monarch County Nutrition Program. And we are thrilled to announce that this important program will continue into 2021. And we hope for your continued support. You can order ahead packaged meals. They're available to seniors age 60 plus. Meal pickup is at our very own Brookside Recreation Center. So please contact us at the Recreation Department for full program details and to place your order. That number is 585-784-5260 extension 0. And please leave your name and phone number and we will follow up with all of the details. As you know, our Brighton Farmers Market is now closed for the winter season. Reopening plans will be announced in the spring of 2021, so please check back in March for reopening details. In the meantime, please see the Brighton Farmers Market website for updates. That website is www.brightonfarmersmarket.org. And again, we want to remind you of our upcoming programs of interest with the Recreation Department. We have dog training, lifetime fitness programs, fencing, sculpey clay, rock climbing, science programs, horseback riding, gentle yoga, and so much more. Our online catalog is available at www.takeandmake.com. townofbrighton.org/rec. Please check our website, again, your email, and the Recreation Department Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Brighton Recreation to stay up to date with all of our latest happenings. Again, we'd love to see you join our online community. Then from our Parks Department, we've now officially canceled all our facility reservations up through the end of February. At this time, we are not accepting any future reservations, but as given today's announcements, we will continue to monitor the situation based on the guidance of the governor and the Monarch County Health Department. So please stay tuned. Again, we remind people that despite the colder weather, the parks continue to be heavily used on a daily basis. And so we do ask that the public please practice social distancing by staying at least 6 feet away from other people and do wear your mask. We will continue to work on park maintenance projects throughout this winter season, as well as working to fill our full-time position, which was recently vacated by our beloved Rich Wagner. And again, an update to our CCA. Residents and small businesses within Brighton who have not opted out are now enrolled in Brighton's Community Choice Aggregation program through Monroe Community Power. This program, again, is allowing us to leverage our collective purchasing power to reduce our energy prices. The price fixed for 2 years is lower than that of other renewable sources of energy and lower than what RG&E typically charges its customers for non-renewable sources of energy over the past 2 years. And again, because it's based on New York sources, it will qualify Brighton for certain NYSERDA grants. So we ask that you also consider opting up to the town's community solar program, also with our provider Source Power, so that your participation in community solar will provide the opportunity for Brighton to invest in its sustainability projects within our community. And I also want to give an update with regard to our Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Advisory Board. Again, our IDEA board members have completed hosting focus groups discussions, and we're now finalizing a public-facing website and developing programming on structural racism through our Brighton Recreation Department. In addition, the board is continuing to incorporate feedback from our Public World Cafe listening sessions to begin development of our Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Action Plan. So we ask that if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to the supervisor's office so that we can incorporate your feedback. Our next meeting was scheduled to be a special day, Thursday, February 19th at 9:30 a.m. at the Brookside Recreation Center, but that meeting will be canceled. And that's all the updates I have. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Robin. Next, Finance, Jason.
Yes, Bill, the Finance and Administrative Services Committee would have met on January 19th, except that meeting was canceled, as we've been discussing. Each of the items that would have been on the agenda, an action items list was circulated to the town board members by Finance Director Paula Parker, together with the supporting documentation and correspondence from the appropriate departments. And we had the opportunity to review and raise questions if we wanted to. Each of those items also will appear on tonight's town board agenda and will be voted on and discussed in further detail. Our next meeting would have been on Tuesday, February 2nd. However, in accordance with our other committee meetings, that meeting will be canceled.
Thanks, Jason. Just to take us back to the East Avenue, I meant to say after Robin talked, I did get a text from Senator Cooney confirming that he was able to watch that discussion on YouTube, and that he appreciated the time taken to begin giving it a another good look. So just wanted to let everybody know that Senator Cooney was tuned in. We'll go now to Public Safety. Christine.
Thank you, Bill. Public Safety Committee has not met since the last town board meeting, as is now the routine these days. But I do have a short update from the West Brighton Fire Department. They had not been able to provide information 2 weeks ago, but they report that in December, the total number of incidents in West Brighton was 45, and that included 21 that required medical services. Otherwise, it is all business as usual in West Brighton. However, there are some staffing changes. I do want to congratulate Rochester Fire Department Chief Will Jackson on his retirement, and congratulate Felipe Hernandez, who has been representing the RFD at town Public Safety Committee meetings in the recent past. He has been appointed as interim chief on Chief Jackson's official retirement at the end of next month. They'll be working in tandem through that transition. So we congratulate them both, and we are grateful for the Rochester Fire Department's service and collaborative support in protecting the residents and businesses of West Brighton. Brighton Police Department, the student survey that was mentioned last town board meeting, that it was being conducted in partnership with the Roberts Wesleyan College Criminal Justice Department, closed on January 20th. And I believe it is too soon for the chief to give us any news on the outcomes of that survey, but we know that we will be looking forward to hearing what young people in the community have to say about their relationship, their perspectives on policing in Brighton. There is another survey circulating. Folks may have seen both, and since they came out at relatively the same time, please don't be confused. The Brighton Police Department is looking for input from all community members, regardless of age, with a second survey that is being conducted in partnership with the Criminal Justice Department's Center for Public Safety Initiatives at RIT. And that survey is still open. It remains open through February 6th. It's anonymous. It is aimed at Brighton community members and anyone else who's interacted with the Brighton Police Department. So you don't need an address in Brighton to provide your feedback. To find the survey, it's prominently placed on the police department homepage within the town website, and that address is www.townofbrighton.org/police. And as the chief noted in his update to the community put out at the opening of the survey, it's just a first step to gain community input on potential reform proposals, and there will be additional outreach. Is there anything else you want to add, Chief, to that update?
No, I don't think so. I think you summed it up well. The last update I received from Wesleyan, that we received over 1% return rate so far, and I get updates every Monday what the return rate is on the survey. So I think we're making progress.
Terrific. 1% is actually quite good for an online survey, especially when targeting young people. So well done. Looking forward to hearing that. So the next the next Public Safety Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, February 9th, but it won't be happening. However, in lieu of committee meetings, matters of public safety can be brought to my attention or the attention of any of the members of the committee for discussion, as was done this evening with the concerns about safety along East Avenue for pedestrians. The open forum is another means for bringing that to the town board's attention. To find contact information, you can see the website townofbrighton.org/public safety committee for contacts and more information. Thank you.
Thanks, Christine. And Chris, Public Works.
Thanks, Bill. Public Works also has been unable to meet. We meet the first Tuesday of the month once the pandemic is cleared. However, Commissioner Guyan kept me abreast of the actions in the department, along with the seasonal snow plowing now and the ice clearing and salting and such. They've also been active with general maintenance in the department. But in addition, the rapid COVID test site has been manned by them at Temple Birth Codish on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 4. And they schedule approximately 300 to 375 tests each day. And please go to the county website at www.monroecounty.gov to make an appointment. And appointments can be made starting at noon Friday before the testing week, as Bill pointed out previously. They've also been working on a number of bids. The bucket truck bids were received on January 6th for the 2021 rental of bucket truck and operator, and Birch Crest Tree and Landscape is the lowest bidder. They're also in the process of renewing annual bids for such as the GIGP maintenance, hardware supplies, mowing, tree maintenance, and removal services, and other regular departmental services as well. Staff is also developing bid documents for the annual sidewalk maintenance contract, and they anticipate the contract will be available for bid in February. Street lighting and maintenance contract is also available for bidding, and those bids are due February 10th, 2021. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Chris. Moving on to new business then, reading and approval of claims. Jason.
Yes, Bill, earlier today, I reviewed claims totaling $1,510,162.07. Notable claims include to the American Rock Salt Company in the amount of $18,327.33, representing purchase of road salt under New York State contract pricing for the 2021 season. Also to the Brighton Fire District in the amount of $800,000, representing a partial payment for 2021 real property taxes collected during January 2021. And that's the first of two payments that we make. We collect the Brighton Fire District's taxes for them when we collect the county tax bills in January. Next was to Brighton Volunteer Ambulance in the amount of $12,834.59, representing the final remaining payment for the 2020 contract, which was for fuel retainage. Also to Civics Plus in the amount of $12,591.36, representing payment for the annual website hosting per board approved contract. And finally, to Joe Basil Chevrolet in the amount of $39,053.83, representing a purchase of a 2021 Chevy Silverado 3500 HD replacement truck for the Highway Department per the 2020 CIP. And this was also on state contract. The claims all appear to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
Second, Robin.
Thank you, Robin. Any discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Manley.
Aye. Next matter, Robin.
Thanks, Bill. The next matter seeks the approval to renew membership with the Association of Towns at of the State of New York for the year 2021 and designate the supervisor as official delegate to attend the annual business meeting of the association. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second.
Thank you. This year, of course, the Association of Towns will be holding their annual meeting remotely. And I think all of you have signed up to remotely attend the meeting this year. Sometimes that is the advantage of these need to hold events remotely. You don't have the travel and other expenses that you might otherwise. And the opportunity to learn from the experts at the State Association of Towns annual meeting is a great one every year. So I'm glad that so many of us are going to be able to do that from the comfort of our own office, living room, den, wherever it is, we Zoom these days. But that'll be coming up in about 2 weeks.
But Bill, how will we get a chance to go out and try unusual foods at tiny, hidden, hole-in-the-wall restaurants near the convention site?
That's what we miss. That's what we miss this year.
We'll have to get creative about that.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Christine.
Thank you. The next matter seeks to approve acceptance of the Stop DWI grants from Monroe County in an amount totaling $15,305.78. I move that we approve the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Chris.
This, of course, is a grant program we participate in every year aimed at reducing and when we catch them, bringing drunk drivers here in Brighton to justice. Any further discussion? Anything more you want to say, Chief, about that? Then Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Christine.
The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Brighton Volunteer Ambulance Incorporated for 1 year from January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021 in an amount not to exceed $310,000. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Jason.
This, of course, is our annual contract that we have engaged with Brighton Volunteer Ambulance for many, many years, and we appreciate the important part they play in providing public safety services, public health services, and a variety of services here in the town. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Jason.
Yes, the next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to amend an agreement with Raymond F. Wager CPA PC, a division of Mangel Metzger Bar and Company LLP, for the addition of a single audit for CARES Act funding in an amount not to exceed $2,500. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Robin.
This amendment is required because of the federal aid that flows through CARES Act, and that requires what is called this single audit. We've done them in the past when we've gotten other grants that have been funded through federal sources. So it's sort of a standard accepted part of accepting a federal grant. Paula, anything else you want to?
We've required last in 2019 to have a single audit as well for the Highland Trail because of the federal funding we received for that. So this is the same price for the single audit for 2020 as it was for 2019.
Great. Anything further? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Jason, why don't you do the next one too?
Yes, the next matter seeks to award total and permanent disability benefit to a West Brighton Fire Protection District firefighter. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Christine.
And you have the information on that in front of you. Any further discussion that anybody has? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Chris?
Let's see. The next item is to authorize a bid award to the Birch Crest Tree and Landscape for the rental of a bucket truck with qualified operator. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney before us.
And
Second.
a second? Thanks, Jason. Again, this was, Chris talked about this briefly in his report. We work with Birch Crest, the low bidder, on our tree program during the summer. Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Robin?
Thanks, Bill. The next matter seeks to accept a donation from the Board of Trustees for the Jack G. LaBelle Foundation in the amount of $1,000 for the Brighton Senior Citizen Program Trust Fund. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Chris.
Thank you. As we've discussed, the senior program has continued. Like so much, it looks different this year. In fact, I hopped on their Tuesday Zoom call yesterday with the seniors. You know, age is no barrier. It's great to see the Zoom conversation going on, very much as it is when they're gathered together in person at Brookside. So it really is fun to get together with everybody. I was starved by the end of the call because everybody was talking about food yesterday. So one of my favorite topics. But thank you to the Jack LaBelle Foundation for that generous donation again this year. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Robin, I'll have you do the next one too.
Certainly. The next matter seeks to approve appointment of co-chairs of the Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Advisory Board. And we welcome Dr. Rashid Mohammed and Sarah Johnstone as our new co-chairs. And I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Jason.
I second your appreciation to Dr. Mohammed and to Sarah Johnstone for stepping up and agreeing to co-chair. And as you were saying, you know, this is going to be, I think, an important year in the work that the IDEA board does, getting engaged and getting started in the actual development of our diversity and inclusion plan. Both Rashid and Sarah have been engaged in various planning activities in their own professional careers. So we're very lucky to have them. But I also want to thank Felicia Garcia Hartstein. Felicia was the first chair of the IDEA board. She has just done a great job. Even though I'm not at the meetings, I get reports. But the work that I've done with her and just the working with her in this transition process of identifying and recommending new co-chairs. So I'm grateful, Felicia, and I'm especially grateful that even though she's stepping down as chair, she is going to continue to be very much involved as a member of the IDEA board. So thank you to all the IDEA board members for your work on this important project. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner. Aye. Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Chris?
Whoops. The next item is to approve the appointment to the Architectural Review Board. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Robin.
Thank you, Robin. Just scrolling, getting there here. All right, we are reappointing Mary Scipione to the Architectural Review Board. We appreciate Mary's work and appreciate that she's signing on for another 3 years. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on Mary's reappointment? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Chris, the next one.
Next item is to set a public hearing for proposed tree removals at 30 Delaware Avenue, 271 Sylvan Road, 58 Shoreham Drive, and 105 Bonnie Bray Avenue. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Robin.
I would note a couple things. One, that there are actually 2 trees at 30 Delaware Avenue that are proposed for removal. All 5 of these trees are silver maples, and we've talked about silver maples so many times over the years. We all know they're big trees, they can be beautiful trees, and they can be very fragile trees. And if you've looked at the materials, you will see that these are pretty dead for the most part. So we'll be holding that public hearing at our February 24th town board meeting. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion.
Supervisor, before you make your motion,
Yeah.
I just want to correct that it was 56 Shoreham, not 58 Shoreham.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yes, that's correct in the, yes, that is correct both in the, well, it's correct in the letter. It's correct on the agenda.
Did I speak?
Let me make sure it's correct in the, yes, 56 Shoreham. Good, okay. So we have that motion and second. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye, and Jason, I'll let you do the last one.
Yes, the next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the town of Pittsford for the placement of a crossing guard for Allen Creek Elementary School. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Christine.
And this is, of course, the item that came up as we discussed the sidewalk, proposed sidewalk construction earlier. Under this agreement, Pittsford will identify and pay a crossing guard to work at that intersection. Frankly, we are, from a personnel perspective, it is hard for us to find enough crossing guards. But Pittsford, and we appreciate them stepping up to do this, and all we're really doing is authorizing them to serve within the town of Brighton through this agreement. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Matters of the supervisor, the only other thing I wanted to mention was last night was the Brighton Central School District's annual New Families Night. And you guessed it, it was on, it might have been on Teams. I don't remember if it was Teams or Zoom, but it was done remotely. And I had the pleasure of being a part of the presentation to those new families, along with Becky Cotter, our rec director. Becky normally would be staffing a table at in French Road where they would normally hold that event, but she joined us remotely. And we had Chief Consolidated was there on behalf of the police department. Former Chief McAdam was there from the fire department, and Chief Cody Dean was there from Brighton Volunteer Ambulance. So they really brought out a great representation of community agencies, along with the wonderful presentation from the school district, and some music that from the All Strings concert, which was performed back in 2020, not long before we went into COVID lockdown. I was at that concert. It was a lot of fun. And as I mentioned last night, I grew up as a cello player in a small town outside Detroit, Michigan. We didn't have as much fun as they did. I heard the strings playing the chicken dance last night. We never got to play the chicken dance when I was growing up playing the cello. So good on them for playing some wonderful, serious classical music, but making sure the kids had some fun with the chicken dance and some other work. So it was a great evening. Thanks to everybody who attended and participated, and sharing with these new families some more information about their new hometown of Brighton.
Did I miss the opportunity to see you do the chicken dance?
Oh, no, I wasn't doing the chicken dance. Oh, no.
I didn't see that.
Just enjoying the strings.
Oh,
I'm not sure actually what grade level, but they had students from the 4th grade all the way up through the 12th grade performing. So no dancing. Ken, matters of the town attorney. We'll have to update our agenda form. I see that we still refer to you as the attorney to the town, but we'll correct that. Town attorney, Ken Gordon.
Thank you, Bill. First, I have to comment, you didn't get a chance to see the supervisor do the chicken dance, but if you've been watching Heather sign, you will get a chance to watch Heather sign and do a little bit of the chicken dance herself.
Yes, yes.
I began my 4th week over at Town Hall as town attorney, and I think I'm settling in nicely, thanks in large part to the kindness and assistance that I've been given and shown by my colleagues at Town Hall, many of which are on this Zoom meeting: Paula, Mike, Dan, of course, Bill, Dave, Bridget, and really have appreciated everything that you've extended to me, and plus a number of people who aren't on this meeting who have helped me out in getting settled in, and things are busy over at Town Hall. The second part of my report, I just wanted to make what I'll call a public service announcement. Somewhere during 2020, and as a result of the pandemic, the town court stopped doing in-person appearances for code violation matters. And that has slowed down to some extent the town's enforcement, at least in court, of some of those code violation matters. I'm happy to report to all of you and most of the community, but for a few violators who won't be happy to hear this, that we have now made arrangements with the town court clerk's office and the judges to begin with virtual town court appearances to move those code enforcement matters, which is beginning immediately. And so for those few of you out there in the greater Brighton community who have received code violation notices and have noticed that you haven't had to go to court, that is about to change quickly. And we will be working with the court to get notices out to you and to let you know when your next virtual court date is so that we can continue with the prosecution and enforcement of the town code as we have in the past. So if you have a code violation notice, if you're aware of it and you've received either a good neighbor letter or a notice of a violation from either our fire marshal or our building inspector, address it now before you find yourself talking to the judge about it. So that's my public service announcement. And then lastly, Supervisor, I do have at least one matter of litigation that I'd like to chat with the board about in executive session, just to give them a brief update.
Sounds good. Thank you. And since we're talking public service announcements and enforcement, I will also remind everybody that winter parking rules are in effect. Obviously, the plows were out last night. We may get a little bit more snow over the next couple of days. But whether there's snow on the ground or not, overnight parking from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. is prohibited in the town of Brighton during the winter season. So please make sure your car is in off the street. Matters of the town clerk, Dan.
Thank you, Supervisor. Town and county tax collection continues. Just a note to everyone, again, the due date for first or fulls without interest is February 10th. The second drop box is live and in use. So if folks come into the open part of the building, which is the public safety lobby, you will now see the clerk's payment drop box on the wall on the left-hand side as you walk in from the Elmwood entrance. But our receptionist Sandy's put a nice green sign drawing attention to it, and it's gotten some early rave reviews. So I think as we get closer to that due date, for folks that show up just because they're used to coming in to pay in person, maybe they didn't look at the bill and notice the other options this year, obviously due to COVID. But that drop box is there and the use has been growing each day. So I'm glad to see that is in place and there, as well as any other items you need to drop off for the clerk's office. It doesn't have to be only taxes. We're getting dogs and hang tag applications and the like in there as well, which is great. Otherwise, that's it for right now.
Thanks, Dan. And as I think you talked about at the last meeting, because the credit card fee waiver was funded through CARES Act funding by the county in the fall, that waiver CARES Act funding is no longer available. That needed to be spent by December 31st. So I just want to remind folks that if they pay by credit card, and they certainly still can, but that convenience fee will be charged. Any other matters of the town board?
Bill, if I might just check in with the chief here, how's our response rate going with that survey that's going out?
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that. So I'm getting weekly updates, and the response rates were from the community survey were at 1% as of this Monday. And the people at RIT tell me that it's good. I've retweeted it. I've sent it out to all the neighborhood associations. So I expect it to increase exponentially. And I'll retweet and resend it out again this coming Monday.
But only 1% so far, you're saying?
Yes, for the first week, which they seem to think was a pretty good number for the first week.
Well, good. I've done what I can to pass it around. I'm sure everyone else has as well.
Yep.
Thank you for asking that question, because I think, Chief, I may have misinterpreted which survey got the 1% rate. What was the response rate for the student survey?
The student response rate I don't have yet.
Okay.
But I did speak with the people at Roberts Wesleyan, and they will be reporting out when they do get the results. They will request to come in front of the town board to give you those results from Wesleyan.
Great.
And they look forward to that.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Any other matters of the board? Then can I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss the employment of a particular person and litigation?
So moved. Second.
Christine moved and Jason seconded, I think.
Yes.
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
and Supervisor Malley.
Aye. I don't anticipate we'll be coming back into public session, but I will ask Mike to stay with us for the executive session. And I'll remind everybody that our next meeting will be again on Zoom and on our various media outlets Wednesday, February 10th at 7 p.m. Have a great evening, everybody.